Absolutely sensational weekend. I'm feeling quite spicy. I am ready for this. I am so hyped for the last 3 games of the season. Championship weekend looks great. The Super Bowl is just a couple of weeks away from us heading to New Orleans. This is going to be massive.
This is the time of the year, Will. I think all the smart, not the dumb, all the smart NFL fans know that the divisional round is the round. And then you get the Championship Sunday. I don't even care about the Super Bowl right now. Championship Sunday is set up to be absolutely fantastic. And no matter who wins, we're going to have an amazing Super Bowl. There is so much to get into. And this is just it. We spend the whole season waiting for these couple weekends. This is, for me, this is the best sporting theater in the world.
So coming up on the show, right, we are going to be talking about Jaden Daniels, the Washington Commanders, going on the road to the Philadelphia Eagles on Sunday. What a game that promises to be. Adam Hoge is going to join us from CHGO. We're going to talk about Ben Johnson to the Bears, and we're going to be doing our extra point later. And I wanted to make sure I went down that rundown because it's to say that for our first conversation, we're not touching officiating or refereeing.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Saying that now,
I don't know what you're talking
about.
Saying
that to every camera in here. We are not touching officiating or refereeing when we discuss the Buffalo Bills going to Arrowhead against the Kansas City Chiefs. When we discuss the AFC Championship game, which headlines Championship Sunday, which sees the Buffalo Bills in the Josh Allen era 4-1 against Patrick Mahomes in the regular season, but 0-3 against the Chiefs in the postseason. Can they get over their playoff hoodoo? Can they finally win at Arrowhead in the playoffs? It's such a great storyline going into this weekend. And I feel like every single neutral but definitely should be rooting for the Buffalo Bills to be in the Super Bowl.
This is the game of the year part 2, right? Because it wasn't that long ago on this show, on the rundown for talkSPORT, that we were the game of the year, the Bills and the Chiefs. And the Bills won that game. And Josh Allen had his MVP moment at the time. And it was the breakthrough. But what did go back. What did Patrick Mahomes say when he's walking off the field? We'll see you again. Basically, we're going to see you in the playoffs. And hint, hint, that's when it matters. And we're going to beat you in the playoffs. Read into that because there's so much to get into those few words, Will. This is it. We've been waiting the entire season for this. And if you're a Bills fan, if you're a Chiefs fan, if you're an NFL fan, we've really been waiting years for this. The NFL, all right, this is how serious this game is. The NFL had to change its overtime rules because of the Bills-Chiefs Classic just a few years ago where it was a Wild West shootout. And Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs got the ball. Josh Allen didn't get a shot. And the NFL basically had to come out and say, we've heard so much on social media and all the complaining, we have to change our overtime rules. That is this rivalry. You're talking about a Buffalo Bills team, been to the Super Bowl 4 times, never won it. A Chiefs team that is the dynasty, and they're trying to be the first team in NFL history to win 3 straight Super Bowls. There is so much at stake. But in the end, it comes down to 2 players, Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. Who will be the winner on Championship Sunday? It feels like 10% of Football America, which are Kansas City fans, Swifties, want the Chiefs. 90%. Everybody else in the world wants the Buffalo Bills to win this game.
Okay, let me play devil's advocate for a moment then. As somebody who has grown up and loved football through some of the biggest dynasty eras, from the 49ers and Cowboys through to what we saw with the Patriots and Tom Brady, who basically had 2 separate dynasties.
Sure.
And now maybe the greatest of them all. The Kansas City Chiefs could win 3 Super Bowls back-to-back, 4 out of the last 5. They're in a 7th straight AFC Championship game.
Which is ridiculous. Ridiculous,
unprecedented stuff. Why should we not be rooting for greatness? Why should we not be saying, I want to be there when Patrick Mahomes lifts the Lombardi Trophy, a 3rd in a row, something we'll be talking about still in 50 years' time if we're fortunate enough to still be on this big blue marble. Why shouldn't we be rooting that? Why shouldn't we be behind great players, great plays, great moments?
There are 2 answers to this question. Number 1, there is my personal answer, which I've been saying all season on this show. I've said over and over, and we've had different people and had different segments and different episodes, and I've said, I don't hate on the Kansas City Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes is one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time already. He's in the top 10 at talkSPORT for the greatest quarterbacks of all time. Andy Reid is one of the greatest coaches of all time. Bill Belichick walks away, Andy Reid takes over. Travis Kelce is one of the best tight ends of all time. They lose all these players, they add players. I don't hate on the Kansas City Chiefs. The other part of the answer is that the rest of America right now is tired of the Kansas City Chiefs. And you mentioned the Patriots. It's a Patriots, syndrome. It's kind of like the San Antonio Spurs in the NBA when they were, with Tim Duncan and Greg Popovich and they would win, and in the end, the San Antonio Spurs would be in the finals, and they're probably going to win those finals. People are just tired of the Chiefs. But the other part of that is Taylor Swift and what happened last year, to where everyone just got burned out on Chiefs 24/7, not on your NFL blog, not on social media, if you were just following NFL accounts, on TMZ and People and Us Weekly and all that stuff out there. That's what they got tired of. They're tired of 24/7, 365 Chiefs. So it's not me, but speaking for the rest of the world, yeah, it's fair to say they are tired of everything Chiefs right now.
This feels like a summary of what we've talked about all season, right? But they do feel like they've turned into the evil empire. As much as we're not going to talk about the officiating calls.
Even though Patrick Mahomes is like a really nice family guy who's highly likable, he's got a funny voice.
Brilliant to watch, like, as well.
Cool,
like, beyond that.
Cool guy, incredible quarterback. And people still, now we won't talk about the REF S word, but they still hate him more than ever right now, Will.
And look, there's part of me that gets it. You've got Harrison Butker offending people pre-season, whether you agree with his politics or not. You've got all the Sky, like, all of it to me feels like that we should not root against them. And yet there's that element of, if I get there and they're there, I'm going to love watching greatness.
The Chiefs have become inevitable. And we spent all season, did they deserve to be undefeated? Were they really that great? They were the luckiest team in the NFL history. All these things. These were headlines at talkSPORT, and they were accurate headlines, Will. But what did I say all season? They just kept winning. We would debate, is it over for Travis Kelce? What's wrong with Patrick Mahomes? All these things. But in the end, they were always good enough. Even against the Houston Texans. The Texans outgained the Chiefs. You want to talk stats. There are some really crazy stats, Will, from that Texans game, to where the Texans did something that had never been done before in NFL history, and they still lost that game. The Chiefs just win. They find a way to win. They have enough talent. DeAndre Hopkins isn't really doing very much for them right now, and they're still finding ways to win, and that's people just get tired of that. They don't want to see the same team every year, and that's why it does feel like 90% of America, 99% of America is pulling for the Bills, and they want to see the Eagles or the Commanders and Jaden Daniels win the Super Bowl.
But for me, it's why you should be rooting for the Bills that I find almost more interesting. Because what you've got is, in Josh Allen, you've got a genuine superstar, a cyborg at quarterback who can do absolutely everything, who can put a team on his back, but who has a great story as well. And the NFL loves a great story.
I was going to say, Josh Allen's backstory is absolutely... I mean, grew up on I've written about this, talkSPORT. Grew up on a 3,000-acre farm in small-town California. Couldn't even get a scholarship to college. Did a huddle.
Had to go to JUCO. Like, he had to go to, like,
then he had to go to Wyoming.
Version of college.
Like, you don't become the greatest quarterback in the NFL compared to Lamar Jackson by going to Wyoming. He was booed by, Bills fans didn't want him. He was doubted. I've read blogs before when he was drafted, Will. People said, this pick will never, ever work out. And now Josh Allen is one win away from making the Super Bowl. But that's the other part I love about it. Who's he have to beat? He doesn't have to beat Lamar Jackson. He doesn't have to beat Geno Smith. He's got to beat Patrick Mahomes. And Patrick Mahomes, thus far, always wins that game.
So you've got Josh Allen. You've got a great coaching staff who have developed this season brilliantly. You've got phenomenal fans. There was that wonderful moment, I don't know if you've seen, of Dion Dawkins. He's been mic'd up for the game this weekend, looking up into the fans and just saying, do you ever look at the fans? It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. Like, he's so enamored with his own fan base.
With the Bills Mafia. The Bills
Mafia in New Orleans. If they turn up and start putting each other through picnic tables, I'm going to be so here for it. I think if that happens, Brian, we should be putting you through a kitchen table.
I'll say this right now. If the I'm probably going to regret this, but if the Bills Mafia, if the Buffalo Bills make the Super Bowl and someone throws me through a table and it's on fire, I will do that for talkSPORT.
You heard it here
officially,
first, guys.
I will do it. I will do it.
It is happening.